Starting from now, we will try to start at the press conference. Over to you.
I have one point to mention about NPT. Japan-U.S. joint statement is going to be issued this morning on the 21st, Japan time. Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan and U.S. Department of State issued a Japan-U.S. joint statement on nuclear non-proliferation treaty. This joint statement, because of a decision to postpone for the fourth time the 10th NPT review conference because of the impact of COVID-19, to have Japan and the U.S. issue the joint statement to reconfirm the commitment to NPT, which is the basis of international nuclear non-proliferation disarmament, including early start of the meeting and to have significant outcome. This aims at maintaining and strengthening the mood towards progressing towards a world without nuclear weapons. This evening, we are planning to have a Japan-U.S. leaders video conference. We intend to continue to closely cooperate with various countries, including the United States, which is the only ally, to take firm measures to realize a world without nuclear weapons.
If you have questions, please raise your hand, and when you are assigned, please move on to the microphone and name yourself and your position. Abe-san, over to you. This is Abe from Yomiuri Shimbun. I have a question in regards to the USFJ's the COVID-19 countermeasures. Starting from 10th of this month, the off-base activity restriction had been in place. And during the period, I would like to know, how do you view the effectiveness of the countermeasures on top of it? Now, the period is going to be over, but have you been discussing about the extension of the period as well? Yes. At each level, there has been the strong request being made from our side, and the measures including off-base activity restrictions has been issued, which will last till 23rd of this month. As for the effectiveness, perhaps it is too early for me to evaluate, but we are asking these measures for the off-base activity restrictions are necessary ones. For that, we have been working on the necessary measures to prevent the spread of the infection. The introduction of such measures had been requested based on the close cooperation between the two countries, including at my level. On top of that, in regards to the off-base activity restrictions, based on the infection status, we are to work on necessary coordination. Therefore, in regards to the period of this restriction, we are working on the communication with their side. As the government continuously, we would like to work on the thorough prevention of the spread, and at the same time, for the resolving of the anxiety of the local community, we are going to further enhance the coordination with the U.S. side.
Next question. From Asahi Shimbun, I have a question about the Sado gold mines. What is the current discussions taking place at the government? And with regards to the memory of the road, if there is any objection, it's not possible to apply. That mechanism was introduced last year under the leadership of Japan. So what do you think about the consistency of this case? As the government, we believe what is most important is to realize the inscription. So for that purpose, what is the most effective method? From that perspective, the government as a whole is making a comprehensive discussion.
Next question, please. Aoki-san. My name is Aoki. I belong to NHK. But in regards to the 2+2 economic 2+2, I believe that there was a report being made in between the U.S. and Japan. I would like to know your the status. Yes, in regards to In relation to the specific outcomes of the U.S.-Japan summit meeting, we are currently under a coordination right now.
Next question, Sawai-san, please. Sawai from TV Asahi. My question is about the situation in Ukraine. It seems that the situation is getting very tense. As the Japanese government, what are the measures to secure the safety of the Japanese in Ukraine? And President Biden is referring to making financial and economic sanctions if there is any aggression and to cooperate with Europe. What would Japan do in that case, and will that impact negotiations for the Northern Islands? Would that also be taken into consideration making the decision? We believe the integrity of the territory of Ukraine is important. We have been supporting that, and sovereignty is also important. The strengthening of Russian forces near the borders of Ukraine is something that we are concerned about, and we intend to take appropriate measures in cooperation with the international community, including the G7. As for the safety of the Japanese residing locally, on the 19th of January, to the local Japanese residents, we issued a spot information calling for their attention. And we asked them to make preparations to be prepared to any emergency. We will continue to take our utmost efforts in securing the safety of a Japanese residing. And the Russian forces movement near the borders of Ukraine, measures in case Russia makes an aggression, that is a question based on hypothesis. I will refrain from answering, but we intend to take appropriate measures. As for the issue of the Northern Islands, in any event, on the policy of signing a peace treaty after resolving the territory issue, we will continue to negotiate based on this policy.
We would like to take one last question. Over to you. My name is Higuchi. I belong to Chugoku Shimbun. I would like to ask the question in regards to the TPNW. Well, this is related to what you mentioned in the beginning. Well, the government has recognized the certain significance, but still have not decided to participate. So we must perhaps think as to how we'll be able to abolish the nuclear weapons if we are to evaluate and recognize the significance. And in March, there is going to be the signatory meeting, and a day before there will be the conference for the non-humanitarian DT. And I would like to know whether the government is willing to participate in that conference or not. Well, in regards to as for the TPNW, I believe that it is a very critical treaty that can be understood as an exit towards the world without the nuclear weapons. But on the other hand, in order to change the reality, cooperation of the nuclear weapon countries would be necessary, but none of the countries are the signatory of the treaty. Therefore, rather than the response that you have mentioned as the one and only that a country that had been hit by the nuclear weapons during the wartime, we must pay the effort for the involvement of the country that owns the nuclear weapons. For that, and first and foremost, to realize the world without the nuclear weapons, we must use the trust relationship with the U.S., the one and only on an as a basis, to work on the realistic approach. From that standpoint, today, with the U.S. side, we issued the Japan-U.S. joint statement in relation to the NPT. Prime Minister Kishida himself would like to confirm that and reaffirm that they are going to work together for the world without nuclear weapons, with President Biden at the television conference to be held tonight. I'm aware of the meeting that you had mentioned, though at this moment we have not received the invitation or the request for participation for that meeting. Due to his schedule, with this we would like to close today's press conference. Thank you.